A couple of years ago, we had a quarterback battle in camp. Todd Davis is very familiar with that one.
Yep.
Yesterday, we had a kicking battle in camp. Today, we've got a long snapper battle in camp. And that's why Todd Davis is here to break down the long snapper battle. Where do things stand, Todd?
You know, I don't even know. I don't know if that's what I don't know if that's what I paid attention to in practice today. There was a lot going on, and can I name either?
Yeah, can you name either long
snapper?
snapper? Yeah.
I can name a lot of other people on the team, but I probably could not name the long snapper.
Can you, Zach?
Michael Fraboni, and
Fraboni.
Longher.
See, I don't know the new guy. I know Fraboni.
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. And Todd, hopefully no one knows the long snapper's name at the start of the season, during the season, at the end of the season, because how often do you talk about long snappers?
Never, unless something's going wrong.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys that if you don't know his name, he's probably doing his job. If you know his name, that means he messed up on a snap. He missed a tackle downfield that led to a big play. It's usually not a good thing to know his name.
Is that the same thing with kickers, or is it good to know their name?
No, kickers, I think that kickers have more upside to them. You know, they're making kicks, whether field goals, game-winning kicks that really put the team in good momentum. Long snapper simply has one job, to get the ball to the kicker. And if he's messing up on that, it's a bad thing to know his name.
I will say, one of my favorite things that can happen in a football game is a punt. When the long snapper's the guy who gets down the field and makes a tackle, especially because they're always like, it's the guy's like 5'11", like 195 pounds, like wearing number 48 or something, gets down
63
like, exactly, and he makes a tackle. It's like, wow, look, it's like watching Rudy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like the same feeling.
That's pretty sick, Hank, that is one of the best things that can happen in a football game for you.
It just gives you good vibes. It's like, look at this guy. Like, that's a highlight of a season.
Wow.
Do you feel like if he could do it, I could do it? Is that like the vibe that you...
There's a little bit of that there.
Okay,
There's a little bit of that there.
Well,
I
Hank,
like
you'll
it.
never be 5'11".
Dang.
They have that thing now where they extend your legs.
They have the knee surgery.
Yeah.
It's
Have
a
you seen it?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they they cut open your knee and they can extend your legs. This guy went from like 5'9" to 6, what was it, like 6'1.5"?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
so painful.
He says it
Until
was
like a week later when you're tall and you forget how bad it hurt.
Yep.
Oh, do you think it takes a week to forget that?
I mean, I haven't done it. I don't know. Maybe that should be my new goal. Like, do so well in life that I can be like, I'll just blow like 20 grand to
And
get taller.
my knees done.
Yeah, get my knees done.
Get my knees done in a very different way. Wow, that's something. Todd, yesterday I asked you if kickers were football players, and you said yes.
Yes.
Are long snappers?
They are football players.
Okay.
They are, for sure. It was a debate yesterday who was more of a football player, and I
Yeah.
said kickers. I
Yeah.
still agree with
Yeah.
that. But long snappers, they still are football players too.
Still football players. And today we saw definitely some football players out there. They were in full pads. We saw 90 guys out there. And let's get to the person that everyone wants to hear about. How back is Russ? Dial it up for me, you hear?
Ooh, oh.
Let's see how far it's going to go. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Unlimited. That's a 4 out of 5 for the people listening on the podcast side of things. Todd, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's stacking that because yesterday he was a 4 out of 5.
Yep.
Today he's a 4 out of 5. I think if he goes through the whole season at a 4 out of 5, I think most people would be happy with that.
Yep, 100%. What does a 4 out of 5 game look like?
4 out of 5 game, probably like 210 yards passing, maybe 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I'd say that's probably a 4 out of 5.
Probably no picks.
Yeah.
And I think what you just described is extremely efficient and very good. Unless you have like Patrick Mahomes or one of those top quarterbacks, you're going to take that sort of game from your quarterback every single day. And I know Broncos Country's taken that game every single game this year from Russell Wilson. And efficient and just does the job, but no wow plays. Nothing that wowed you. It's exactly how I would describe Russell Wilson today. I mean, he did everything that you wanted him to do. Didn't have any big mistakes at all. But there was no wow plays. But that's a good day.
For sure. It's a solid day. You start stacking solid days, and then you get to put in, a couple wild plays here and there. I think, you have a 4 out of 5 day with 2 big plays. That's a 5 out of 5 day. So I think you kind of stack that together and make them one. I think you're happy with the result.
He was close. All he needed was like one big play, and it would have been the 5. But you can't complain. Definitely can't complain. I mean, those numbers you were saying, I mean, that'd be 3,600 yards and 34 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a solid season.
Baller.
That's a solid season.
That's an infinite touchdown to interception ratio.
Wow.
Do you think that's ever happened where there's been like 100 attempts in a season? Like 100 or more attempts?
I bet 100, yep. I wonder what the most attempts without throwing an interception in a season is.
Didn't Nick Foles... Was it Nick Foles? I think with the Eagles. Didn't he have like 9 touchdowns, no picks or something?
That could be.
There was something crazy where he went out, or 16 touchdowns and no interceptions. But Russell Wilson hasn't thrown a pick since Justin Simmons was on the field. That's been like 10 days, right?
Yep.
Almost 2 weeks.
It makes you think. It really makes you think because the offense has been really, really good since Justin Simmons stopped practicing. Before that, it was really not good.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's maybe there's something there. Maybe that's something we really should key in on.
And they keep getting better, but then you look and like no Justin Simmons first, and now no K-Jack, no Caden Stearns. It just kind of keeps getting worse for the defense.
That is a
Pat
good caveat from today.
So who was the starting secondary when they lined up in team today?
Damari Mathis,
Yep.
a real legitimate starter.
Yep.
Jaquan McMillan, who's like next up. And then what happened was Caden Stearns got hurt. PJ Locke got hurt. Justin Simmons still isn't practicing. Kareem got like some sort of day off, which meant that your 5th and 6th safeties, who are Delarian Turner-Yell and Devon Key, were actually starting in the secondary today. Oh, and Isang Bassi in the slot for K1, right?
Yep. Wow, that's quite different.
Uh-huh.
That is quite different. So, Todd, how is this good for the offense or good for the defense, bad for the offense? How do we weigh this? Because Henry's right. Literally, the practice that Justin Simmons got hurt was the last bad day for the offense, for the passing offense, I should say, since Justin's been out. The offense hasn't had a bad day. The worst grade that we've given Russ is a 3 since Justin Simmons been out. How do you read that? Do we read into it?
I read into it as it's really good for the defense because you get a lot of young guys some reps. You allow them to get more reps on their belt and build their confidence. So it's really good for the defense. I think in a lot of ways it's also good for the offense. Like they needed to have days where they succeed. Although they know that certain guys out there, I think just succeeding is good for their mentality right now. I don't think that they played the way they wanted to Friday night. So I think that any time that they can go out there, put together a good practice, I think is good for the team, especially the offense.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the offense definitely needed that boost. Could you imagine going into to week 1 of the season and the offense has just had like 17 straight bad days of camp?
Terrible.
Yeah, that would be miserable for them, for us, and for the fans, of course. Let's walk through Russell Wilson's day.
Yes.
And talk about exactly how he did. Since they did enough team, I don't really think we need to go through 7-on-7s. In team, like you said, Todd, there was no Pat Surtain. The safeties were the backups. No Justin Simmons, no Caden Stearns. So a ton of backups he's going up against. To be fair, he also had a backup right tackle in. That was Cam Fleming. And the very first play, it was a play action. He stepped up in the pocket and just overthrew Marvin Mims downfield. That would have been a huge play. Marvin Mims was crossing the entire field and just overthrew him. That probably, if that's a completion, probably talking about a 5 out of 5 day today. But he just missed him. The next play, he comes back. Busted coverage on this when Greg Dulcich is wide open in the middle of the field. Russell Wilson does a good job just finding the open Greg Dulcich for about a 20, 25-yard gain.
Yeah, it was a good play, and it was definitely a busting coverage. I think they were in man, and, somebody didn't do their assignment. So, that's not our fault as an offense. You just got to find the open guy, and he definitely did that. Dulcich looked good. I think that he should be getting more reps. I think that Sean Payton will definitely throw him in different types of personnel, but he's he's made enough plays to be like the first team tight end, or definitely get as many reps as the first team tight end. So
we have to talk about Greg Dulcich because he's had a very interesting week, and let's get to that in the second segment. But I definitely want to talk about him because you bring up some good points and some head scratchers as well with what's going on with Greg. And then the very next team period, it's Russell Wilson, red zone, and we can't say exactly what they did, but the first play was Sean Payton getting into his bag a little bit. A lot of motion, some trickery, and it ended up for a completion to Marvin Mims. And then Russ had 3 more straight completions, ended in a touchdown with Samaje Perine just wide open. And I would say today was a great example of something you talked about yesterday, Todd, is in the first preseason game, Sean Payton didn't really try to help Russell Wilson out with his play calling. He didn't try to hurt him, but he said, we're going to be vanilla. We're not going to show you anything. I'm not going to do anything that's going to get the receivers wide open. Today it was like, I almost could have been the quarterback for some of these plays because Sean just dialed these things up so there's wide open receivers. Now, that's not to take anything away from Russ. He made the right reads. In that red zone period, he was perfect and led the team from the 20 to the end zone.
Yep. I mean, that play was the first play that I think of all camp that we can't say what happened. It's the first time that because they say in the guidelines you don't give away anything that's like tactical or anything like that. This is the first play that fit that category where you're like, oh. And it was so interesting that I looked at Todd and was like, wait, they planned that, right? Like that wasn't like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes making something happen. Todd was like, yeah, I mean, that was for real. It was a fun little play.
Yeah, it was. And it was to trick the inside linebackers.
It was, and definitely have some people on their toes. Sean Payton likes to make sure that you know your job. Like the way he schemes things up is that, he could run a lot of things at you, or defense could run a ton of things that he has to prepare for. Instead, I'm going to move guys around so much that I'm going to make sure you know your job. And the one time you leave somebody open, the one time you don't shift or the linebackers don't get to the next gap, that's when I make a big play and really get a lot of yards. So he'll definitely be messing with people's minds all year long.
Yeah, he definitely is going to, and that's what defensive coordinators say. They really don't like going up against Sean Payton. And now this is when Russ earned his paycheck today. And in training camp, there's no paychecks, right? I mean, very small,
barely,
minimal. Yeah.
Minimum wage.
So he earned over his paycheck today. The Broncos 2-minute drill, which situation is everything to Sean Payton, and typically situational football at the very end of practice means the most. Is that right?
Yep. Usually there's some caveat to be won or something to be won, like whether it's push-ups or running. Like usually that's a really intense competitive period because it's make or break, it's win or lose. This is sometimes the game comes down to one drive or one play, and you got to show up, you got to make it.
Speaking of conditioning, something happened at the end of practice, Todd, with the conditioning that I've never seen before, and we got to talk about it, but I want to drive through this 2-minute drive first, or I want to go through this 2-minute drive first. Minute 52 left on the clock. Offense has the ball at their own 25-yard line, down 3, fourth quarter, couple timeouts. So they have to go 75 yards for a touchdown to win, or they just have to get in field goal range with to tie the game. And they start, dump off to Javonte, stays in bounds, I believe. Then 2nd and 6, threw the ball into traffic. 3rd and 6.
That throw into traffic could have been picked.
Yeah,
too.
let's talk about
that. That was, I think Jaquan McMillan got it first, and Delarian Turner-Yell was there. Another guy was there, and it was kind of like bouncing around, and it wound up hitting the ground.
And it went straight up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
The ball, 10 yards in the air.
It looked like it was going to get picked.
Yeah, easily could have been picked. I didn't get to see because we were standing behind a lot of big offensive linemen.
That's the worst.
And I have to imagine that some offensive players got in there to break the pass up.
It reminds me of when we're up top and McChesney's walking around. And it's like, oh, there goes McChesney walking by again. It's like, I guess I got to move. There's no seeing around him.
Yeah, no, there isn't. So we couldn't exactly see why, but we saw the ball hit the ground. 3rd and 6 probably would have been a sack there, but Sean Payton, by Zac Allen. Sean Payton lets the play go on. Russell Wilson runs for about 3 yards. So it's 4th and 3, And Russell Wilson throws, a very quick out, and it was a good pass, a completion, gets out of bounds. First down from their own 36, so they still have a long ways to go since they're still on their own 36-yard line. Incomplete. 2nd and 6, or 2nd and 10 from the 36. A short pass to Kendall Hinton for 4, so now you're looking at 3rd and 6. And I think this was a smart play. Russell Wilson, under pressure, just threw the ball away right away. Now you're saying, well, it's 3rd down. But if you take a sack there, and instead of 3rd and 6, you're looking at 4th, or instead of 4th and 6, you're looking at 4th and 16. I thought it was a good decision from Russ, but then that did set up a 4th and 6.
And I think that was Jonathan Harris that got in there too.
Yeah, Jonathan Harris he's having a hell of a camp. So 4th and 6 from their own 40-yard line, 42 seconds left. He hits Jeudy in the middle of the field for about a 30-yard or 20-yard gain. Huge play on 4th down. And RG was up top watching it as our eyes in the sky, and he said it was very similar to the Broncos' touchdown play with Jeudy last week on Friday night's game. And Jerry's just open on those plays. And so Jerry got open. Russ put it right where it needed to be in the middle of the field. That's back-to-back 4th downs picked up.
Yeah. And that's how football goes. You don't pick those up, all of a sudden it's a bad game.
Yeah, and I feel like that I'm okay with that pattern. If Jerry is our go-to guy on 4th down, if he's going to be the guy and the number we call, I feel like he's going to find a way to make those plays, or at least create separation enough to be wide open to catch the ball. So I'm okay with that being the game plan if that is what it is the entire season.
Yeah. And backup safety was trying to cover him. It's tough enough for a starting corner to cover Jeudy. You put a backup safety on him. Good luck.
It's a long day.
Yeah, he's going to be open just like he was against the Cardinals. And then you had 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line, 20 seconds left. So, Todd, situation's 1st and 10 from the defense's 41-yard line, 20 seconds left. Offense is down 3. Who's feeling better in this situation?
I think definitely the defense. Basically, you have to keep them where they're at, which I think is easier than the offensive job, because you still want to march down the field and you still need to get in field goal range. I think that's not an easy field goal to make.
Yeah.
So I think definitely defense is still at an advantage at that point. And usually defensive coordinators like to call up blitzes, like to push them back just to get them out of that field goal, because most people would take that field goal. But I think the defense is definitely has the better hand right there.
And so there's just one thing that Russ can't do. Is
take a sack. Yep.
So the very first play, a throwaway, a quick throwaway. He feels the pressure coming, throws it away. Really smart play, especially from the Russell Wilson we saw last year, where he kind of panics when he's in a crunch situation or when there's pressure in his face. Nope, really smart. And I think that's something that I've seen a big jump from Russ in this past week, is making those decisions. So now you're dealing with a 2nd down, 15 seconds left, incomplete. So now you're looking at a 3rd down with 12 seconds left. Another incompletion.
Golly.
So now you're looking at 4th and 10 from the defense's 41-yard line. 6 seconds left. It's a 59-yard field goal. Do you really have a choice on what you do here?
No, you got to take that field goal.
Yeah, you got to take the field goal. And we'll talk about it in a second, but the Broncos only have one kicker on the team now.
They do.
Brett Maher?
We have this conversation every day. Let's go Maher today.
Brett Maher.
Brett M.
Brett goes out there, 59-yarder, pressure pack situation. You make it, you tie the game, you miss it, you lose. The offense has literally done just enough to say that they gave you a chance, and he nails it.
Yep.
And what was there? He had plenty of distance on it.
Yeah, he made it easily. And at altitude, I guess he probably should, because that's kind of what he's known for, is making the long kicks. That's why he put up with some of the misses. I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I would be surprised if they actually let him try like a 68-yarder, but I think it's possible. Like I think there's a chance he makes it. It's probably still not a good idea to give him that field position, but it looked like he had that sort of leg.
At the end of a half, though?
End of the half,
I'd let him try 60 instead of, what would that be, like a 50-yard Hail Mary?
Yep.
Yeah, I would have him do that. He's got a leg.
There was one day this spring where Sean Payton was coaching receivers on a Hail Mary right in front of us, so I could hear what he was saying. I kind of want to see them try that Hail Mary because I think he's got some good ideas. But yeah, you still probably take the kick.
How many tricks can there be in a Hail Mary?
A little hook and ladder or something? What's going on?
They've got some ideas. There's one read that needs to be made.
Okay.
I probably said too much.
Oh, man, I wish you could say that because I got to tell the people about Breckenridge Distillery, and that would have been a hell of a tease to say, Hank's going to tell you on the other side. But
maybe I will.
Oh, maybe he will. Breckenridge Distillery, you see it on our set right here. They've got the competition, the bourbon competition going down. The Battle of the Broncos blends Ed McCaffrey versus Alfred Williams. And if you want to vote on which one is better, go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com and you'll find it on their page. And you can vote for which one's better. They've got an orange one, a green one. One's Ed McCaffrey's. One is Alfred Williams. So check out the Breckenridge Distillery bourbon, which is a award winner. It's the world's highest distillery, and it's won so many awards around the world. And also check out their Reiki seltzers. I was having one on our pregame show, and it is smooth as can be, and not just whiskey, but I was drinking the tequila one.
Yep.
Delicious stuff. So you can get it in all 50 states. So check out BreckenridgeDistillery.com to find the closest Breckenridge Distillery product to you.
Yeah, those are really good. Those Rikis.
Yeah.
I bet that everybody would like them. And if you would like to bet, go to Bet365. Use code DNVR365
You nailed it, Todd.
at the sign up. They have over 780,000 events each year, which is crazy. You can turn $1 into $200 of bonus bets when you join Bet365. Download the app, deposit $10, and claim your $200 in bonus bets. That's the best deal that I think I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
I personally am going to take it up. I want to start betting, doing a little bit more sports betting. Doing a lot of deep dive in with Hank on the Broncos. I think I'll have a lot to bet about, a lot of inside information since for years I couldn't bet on myself or my team or anything in the NFL. It's about time for me to put some bets together. So Bet365 is going to be how I do it.
Were you in the game when betting was Yeah, you were a little bit when betting was starting to become legalized.
Yes.
Was it as big of an emphasis inside the locker rooms, meaning like coaches and organizations telling you guys not to do it? Or did that really just kick up? Because I feel like the first time I really heard so much emphasis was like last year.
No, they definitely told us not to do it. Don't bet on anything that has to do with the NFL. There was no betting in the locker rooms, no gambling. I don't know if we adhere to those rules, but that's definitely what they told us.
Yeah, there was some games that happened in the locker room.
Exactly.
But yeah, it wasn't about football or anything like that. But speaking of Bet365, let's jump into our top 5 performers today and rank these guys. Who stood out to you? Should we include Russell Wilson in this? Yeah, if he was in the top 5.
Well, I had a question.
Yeah.
So, 2-minute drill, very important time within the game, whether it's in the half or in the game. And he threw 3 incompletes in a row.
Yep.
How did he get the 4 out of 5 today? Like, I'm trying to figure out how did we get to that math?
Because
you hear what you doing over there?
Just enough to get him in field goal position.
Okay.
I wasn't in charge today of this, by the way. Yesterday, you can blame me all you want. Today, it was all Zach.
Yeah, you can blame Henry. It's all Henry on this.
Wow.
I mean, it's a fair question. And I want to say from my recall, 2 of them were at least throwaways.
Yeah.
Because he knew there was 20 seconds left. I think at that time there were no timeouts left, so you really couldn't have like a 4-yard completion. That just wouldn't make much sense.
Yep.
Am I right on that?
Yeah. I think that timeout was gone.
And so
you're standing by the 4 out of 5 too?
I think it was a 4 out of 5.
All right.
I mean, it was pretty sharp outside of that 2-minute drill too.
Okay.
That was most important.
we've had a lot of people in the comment section already saying I'm negative. I don't really know what I said negative. I gave Russ a 4 out of 5. Come after Todd.
Oh,
if you
Todd
really
wants
believe
to-
that
No,
I've
I'm just
been negative.
asking for-
Todd's the one that wants to put Russ down.
I'm just asking for
Come after him.
clarification.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? If he was a 4 out of 5, I'm happy about that. I want him to be a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. I just want to make sure the grading scale is not being skewed in any way. You
That's
know
how
what
I'm
I'm
always
saying?
talking. I know that voice.
And see, I want to make sure the grading scale by our listeners isn't skewed, and they'll come after Todd.
But the thing
I don't
is,
see you guys doing it.
that I was about to say, I think as most people think I can take on Zach and Hank.
Oh,
like,
so
at least to be
that's
like
exactly what they
Very
think.
little people are like, I can take on Todd.
Yeah, I don't see those people saying anything now. Where are you at?
It's all love, baby. I love you guys.
Oh, you're sucking up right now, Todd. But that's smart. Yeah.
Got to.
All right, so let's get into our Bet365 top 5 performers. Who we going number 1 overall today?
One is tough. You know, if
Who
we
stood
want to
out?
get weird, Michael Burton was insane in the 9-on-7. Like, they were just running behind him over and over and over again. He was manhandling everybody. He's on the list for sure. I'm not sure if we can give him the number 1 spot, though.
Okay, he's in the conversation. Todd, something weird happened in 9-on-7 today. Have you ever seen a pass thrown in 9-on-7?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
And I
So
hated it.
they mixed that in? Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
worst. Like when they do a play action rollout, like I'm all the way up in the backfield. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not, you know what I'm saying? You're like, what are you guys doing? You're supposed to pass the ball. And then you got to go tell your coach, man, they weren't supposed to pass right now. That's why I did that.
Yep. I think it was Steve Atwater standing behind us when they did that. He's like, no, you can't do
Yeah.
that. It's like, you got to stay honest to what you're doing. He's like, no, you
No,
can't do that.
Oh,
That's like
McChesney was throwing a fit, too.
7-on-7. That's like them run the ball 7-on-7. Like that's not fair.
Yep. We've seen a couple of quarterbacks scramble in 7-on-7
Yeah.
in our days. Well, you've been here for that. Paxton took off many times. And it's like, you can't do that. It's
Exactly.
a passing drill.
I think so.
Or else that gives free reign for the linebackers to take them out, right?
Yep.
Does Nate Adkins get a spot on the list because he caught the only pass in 9-on-7s?
Wow. I mean, Todd and every defensive player say that's cheating, so
That
no.
is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
They were doing some weird stuff though. Like Burton and Adkins were combining for some good blocks. So you can think about what that could look like.
Man, you're just a big Nate Atkins guy.
It was
I think-
an
I think-
awesome Nate Adkins day.
If he makes the team, I think Todd's going to be placing some bets on Nate Atkins
Oh,
from
yeah.
what Henry
Yeah.
tells him.
If
For
he
sure.
if he makes the team,
I'm very
I
bullish. Very
I
bullish
got
on
some
Nate
great
Atkins.
stuff from Jalen Virgil about him today.
Sure, we can put Michael Burton on that list. You go 5
Sure, let's put him at
for
5.
some good blocks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said, he was asked today, we talked to him on the podium, and he was asked, what's a perfect play for a fullback?
Uh-huh.
And he said, when you block and the running back scores a touchdown. And it's like, man, not even like you score a
I would have said
touchdown?
like a fullback dive on the 1 yard
yeah,
line. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's selfless, man. Selfless.
Yes.
That's a good teammate right there.
Speaking of bets, I'm going to take the over on Michael Burton catches this year, if it's even up.
Yeah.
I
So
think he's going to be involved.
I think so too. And that's why I tweeted on Friday before the game. I was like, okay, he's going to catch 2 balls today. He's going to break 4 tackles on those 2 catches. They didn't even throw the ball his way. And I realized it isn't that Sean Payton's going to give him the ball a lot. It's that he's going to give it to him just enough that you have to respect it. And then you can just use him to beat the defense up in the middle of the field over and over and over and over again. What do you think of playing fullbacks?
I liked him. I think that as a defender, sometimes it's easier for me in run defense when there's a fullback in
Because
the
you can
game
read
because
him?
I'm keying him. Like now in the game of football, they have so much misdirection, but wherever that fullback goes, like they're using him to lead up for that running back. So it made my job a little bit easier, I would say,
point.
because I can really key in on where the fullback is, and that'll kind of take me to where the play is developing.
Do you feel like you should have the advantage over a fullback as an inside linebacker? Because, I mean, they're essentially your size, just meant to block. So are they viewed as, like, should beat you, you should beat them?
I think just personally, I should beat him, but I feel like their job is easier than a linebacker's because just running full speed, basically they just have to move me enough for the running back to get through. If they run hard enough at me and move me off my spot, they've done their job. Just like I think an O lineman's job at times in run blocking is easier than a D lineman having to shock engage, find the ball, shed him, and make a play. That's harder than just, I guess, moving somebody or getting in their way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Especially a lot of times, even for linebackers, sometimes you're double teamed.
Exactly.
And how often are offensive linemen double teamed?
Maybe never.
Yeah, you probably never see that, or
Yeah.
something's going wrong.
Exactly.
Man, that would have to be a really good offensive lineman. Like not
To
even
double
Quentin
team
Nelson.
him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To double team an offensive lineman. Yeah. So any offensive lineman that should be in the top 5?
No,
No, I didn't see any.
they had a rough day in those one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going the other way. Like Randy Gregory did pretty well. I think he should be in the conversation. Matt Henningsen got into the backfield in one-on-ones, had like a nice rep. It was like a little twist. It was when they were doing the 2-on-2s, and they also batted a ball in team drills.
Okay.
So
Greg Dulcich. What about Greg Dulcich?
Yeah,
He had a pretty
Dulcich is
good
a good
day.
one.
I think Greg
Made some good
Dulcich
plays.
definitely deserves to be here. He honestly might go higher than 4, but Greg Dulcich, what'd you see from him, Todd?
I just saw the ability that we all know he has, that route running ability, being wide open and making plays downfield. I think that's what they need to use him for. I think that's what they will use him for. So he showed that ability. You know, I don't know how many opportunities he's getting. Me and Zach were talking about the NFL, and sometimes it's tough because you could be a really good player, but new coaching staff comes in, they want to use you a different way, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 years down the line, they call you, you know, you're not the same player that you used to be, but I haven't had the same opportunities that I had. I haven't been used in the same way. So it's tough, but, you know, sometimes that's how the NFL is.
Yeah, and I just wonder if Greg Dulcich is kind of falling in that unfortunate role where it's not his fault. It's a new head coach that was here last year. We know how much Nathaniel Hackett loved Greg Dulcich on the field and also his hair and short shorts off the field. And he talked about that just as much as he talked about him on the field. And with Greg, last week he was listed as the backup tight end. Sean Payton told us, don't read into it. It's no big deal. I bought that. And especially Sean said, all these 3 tight ends are going to play, so don't worry about it. I still think that's the case. But then Friday night, Russell Wilson doesn't even throw to Greg Dulcich. Adam Troutman, the guy above him, has 2 passes completed. I believe a 3rd thrown to him. And then today, while he did have a catch from Russell Wilson, he also had his biggest play of the day, a 25-yard pass from Jarrett Stidham complete, showing that he's playing with the backups as well as the starters, and just he's not as featured as I would have expected. I mean, especially with Tim Patrick out, I thought Greg Dulcich was going to be one of the top 3 receivers on this team, even being a tight end, even potentially being a backup tight end. And I just wonder if, you said it, Todd, if his role is honestly just a deep threat at tight end. And I just thought he could be more. I still think he can be more than that, but I wonder if that's just how Sean views him now.
He was asked about after practice, and he said he's one of those guys that will have packages they're designed for him. That doesn't mean he gets it, but he'll certainly be a primary. We're still in installation. Today we're installing another group of 3rd down plays. Basically says he'll have his chance. We just haven't gotten to that yet.
Well, and to me, I actually heard it the other way.
Really?
I heard he's going to have his packages. Todd, if you're a featured player, you don't have packages for you, do you? Aren't you just like on the field?
Yes.
And when I hear packages, I hear that as like, yeah, we have a couple of things for him lined up. And he's more of sort of a backup that will put in the game certain times.
Yeah, that's usually for a guy who, you know, they know it's pretty good, but isn't going to be on the field. So we have to create a package to get him on the field. As, like you said, if you're like the premier guy, you're usually on the field.
Right.
And you don't need a package. They may have a play for you,
Right.
but you don't need a package because you're already there. So, you know, I was really interested to see how they're going to use him because I'm thinking Jimmy Graham type body and route running ability. You know, I thought he would come in here and do that with them. Probably not going to go that route, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, no, and I expect a ton from Greg, and I think he's just so talented. And when we see him, I feel like he's always doing good things. But maybe Troutman is Sean Payton's guy, was with him in New Orleans, and Troutman showed that he can catch, and he's probably the most all-around tight end.
Yep.
And so maybe that's why there's packages for Dulcich being that receiver instead of just the all-around guy.
Yeah.
So we'll put Greg Dulcich in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely. I think Henning's in number 4, unless you guys have a lot of guys
I'm fine
to make
with that.
the list.
Why?
Because I mean, like I said, he batted the ball during team drills.
Yep.
He was getting into the backfield. He had one great little twist, came around the edge, would have been a sack in the 2v2s, I guess is what I would call it. And just was consistently winning. Also, Quinn Miners had a really rough session. It was like really, really rough.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. But that's not the point of this segment. This is a fun segment. It was great from Matt Henningsen.
Yeah, it was. Who else stood out here in this practice?
Could make a case for Jonathan Harris. But there weren't a lot of receivers that made big plays that I can think of.
We putting Russ in here?
I think we might.
All
Number
right.
3?
3.
Number 3?
Let's do it.
All right,
let's do it.
Russell Wilson, number 3. Now, I have a question. Does Brett Maher get a spot on here? So he went, there were 2 periods where he got work. The first period was just a field goal period, where I think they started at, 35-yard line, I think? And he took 7 kicks.
Yep.
He missed a 45-yarder and a 53-yarder. Pretty inexcusable. I'd say anything from, in today's NFL, anything 55 in,
You should make.
you should make, and obviously you're going to miss 1 or 2 over a season, which, how many kicks are you getting? 40 in a season? So you're going to miss 1 or 2, but that was 71% for him on those 5 of 7 attempts. Not the best. I think he did end it with a 55-yarder, but then he comes back and ends practice with not just the 59-yarder we talked about earlier, but then the second team goes out and sets him up for a 51-yard field goal, and he hits that one too. So crunch time situations, he goes back-to-back big field goals, and I honestly think that's got to be big for his confidence, just since that must have been shot after last year and then shot again after going 0 for 2 in the first preseason game.
Yep.
So, 7 of 9 with 2 game-winning field goals, or game-tying field goals.
So 7 of 9. That's 78%.
Not ideal.
League average last year was 85.
Ooh.
Yeah, not ideal.
So it was below average.
what about game winners?
That's the thing. They're game winners. I bet I can find from 50 or longer.
Game winners?
It'll take a second. I don't know if I can find
tires,
game winners.
I guess.
It is also game tire.
You know what? Let's.
I get. When you tie the game, I guess nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you missed the kick before, right?
It's true.
Or does it matter?
It's a good
That's
point.
tough.
I guess do you win in overtime?
Ooh, that's tough. Because if you lose in overtime, you're like, you should have missed that
Yeah,
first
exactly.
kick.
Then you would've just
Exactly.
won.
Then that one would have been at the end of the game. Would have been for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably would.
I don't think we put Maher on there.
Okay.
I don't think
okay.
I don't think you can do it.
Okay.
I think we're down to Dulcich. What about the long snappers? We have a 2-way tie for number 1. They were both perfect.
And you don't want to put a kicker who did the game-winning kick, but you want to put a long snapper?
Game tying.
Those
kick.
snaps were crisp.
They were flawless from what I could see.
Just like Todd, I did not pay attention,
No.
watch, look at the long snappers once this practice.
Yeah.
So Hank, if you have a big argument to make up for
don't.
number 2,
I don't.
yeah,
I
I
wish
don't
I
think
did.
so.
Wait, Dulcich isn't on there.
No.
Yeah, so we need-
Let's make Dulcich number 1.
Dulcich
I think he was
1?
number 1 today.
Sure, I like
All right.
that. Greg Dulcich. And if you want to see Greg Dulcich flipping his hair, Ryan Green took a slow-mo video of Dulcich doing that. So check out DNVR _Broncos on Twitter.
That's why we give him the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, who was the second best player at Broncos practice today?
Kind of left ourselves in a weird spot with this
We
list.
really did.
Who was number 2 today?
Sean Payton?
There was a couple good runs today. There was
There
a
were.
couple
That's
good
true.
bounce
That's
back
true.
runs.
Yeah.
Any defensive players?
Boy, this is all off. Well, Matt Henningsen's defense.
We could put Jonathan Harris in there.
Yeah.
He got the pressure. I don't know that he got a sack. He was one of the guys who really beat up on Quinn Miners in the one-on-ones.
Boom. There it is.
Boom.
Jonathan Harris.
Boom.
There weren't a lot of standout plays today.
No, there weren't on really either side of the ball.
No.
I should say.
Huh. I didn't really think of it that way. It was a pretty simple practice. Like, if Russ had hit Marvin Mims on that big, deep crosser, Mims would have been on there.
Yeah.
And it was just a bad throw, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, Mims did his job. He probably would have caught it. It's not his fault Russ missed the throw. Otherwise, he could have been on this list.
Right. Yeah. No, and Marvin was actually open in one-on-ones too. He beat Jaquan deep, and Russ overthrew him again. So, and Henry, you actually made a comment that Russ typically doesn't overthrow people like this.
His whole tactic is to underthrow by a couple yards so you don't miss the window.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a big enough window, you just catch it, and if not, it's a jump ball.
Yeah, exactly. There were a few balls that were thrown in some tight windows. We're in a game. I think we're seeing a huge collision. And if you're involved in a huge collision, make sure to call our friends over at Backus
pretty
and
good.
Shanker,
Yep.
where if you're in any sort of accident, make sure to give them a call, especially if it's related to an injury case, because they are going to help you win, and they're going to help you win big. They've won over $1 billion for their clients, so give them a call at 222-2222 or visit them at coloradolaw.net. And when you call them, it's a free consultation. It's free when they work on your case. You only pay once they win your case for you. So check them out over at Backus and Shanker, where they will help you if you're involved in any sort of accident, from a motorcycle, ride share, car, pedestrian, truck. They're there. 222-2222.
And if you have a little back pain from your car accident, or maybe you have some anxiety, you're like nervous drive. Well, actually,
Don't do it
maybe
and
not
drive.
driving. No. Bad idea. Maybe you're nervous thinking about driving when you sit at home in a very safe space. Then go to Kind Love, because they'll hook you up with a turbo core that will cure any problem you could be having. Next thing you know, like, you're not even the same person. Like, you're living on the moon or something. Those turbo cores, they're basically like toothpicks. They're made out of oils that come from the cannabis. You shove it inside the joint or the blunt, or like a cigarette also, and it'll just make you even more stoned when you smoke whatever you're smoking. It also helps everything burn smoother. It's a great product, and you can pick it up at any Kind Love store. So there's one in Cherry Creek, there's one in North Denver, and if you mention DNVR, you'll get the DNVR exclusive discount of 25% off all Kind Love flour, pre-rolls, and their turbo joint line. It's all good stuff, so definitely go check that out. Use that code DNVR, and you can actually go to kindlove.com and see their entire extensive menu and order online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Man, I was trying to think of a transition, but I thought it would have been a little too mean to Elliot Fry.
Oh.
Because
He
he
needs some
got
kind love.
Yeah, he does need some kind love.
fried.
Yeah, because he got fried today. That's exactly where I was going to go.
That is sad.
Yeah, he probably does need some kind love. DNVR, code DNVR, 25% off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he anyone can use that code. But he got cut today. Wave injured because he has what Sean Payton said is just like a very minor tweak, a little pull. But it doesn't sound like that's the reason that they got rid of him. It just seems like they've kind of made their decision. It doesn't seem like Elliot Fry is going to be back once he's healthy. Was this the right decision? Because 24 hours ago, we thought he was going to be the week 1 starter.
Well, we flipped the coins. So we were like,
Yeah, it was the coin
It was
toss. That's right,
50-50.
that's right. Yeah. Is this something where Brett's now the guy? Because after practice, I mean, Sean was like, yep, he's still competing for a job for 31 other teams. And I'm like, he's still on this team. Are you just saying that you're going to cut him in 2 weeks from now? But to me, I think there's one scenario where there's really no shot that Brett is the starting kicker for this team. And I don't think it has anything to do with him. I think it has to do with Will Lutz out in New Orleans. Sean Payton's kicker for how long?
Long time.
Yeah, like over 5 years.
Yep.
And right now he's in a kicking battle with an undrafted guy. If they go with that other guy and Will Lutz is available, I think that's the Broncos starting kicker.
Didn't that other kicker get stopped 3 times because they thought he was a fan because he's like tiny, like he's like 5'8",
Yes.
like 120 pounds or something like that?
What's wrong with 5'8", 120, you hear?
Yo, I'm
Wow.
a bit.
It feels like
There's
a
lot
personal
wrong with
shot
Wow.
right
Those
to
people
me.
have a lot of issues now that I know Zach.
Damn.
He got like
Yeah.
stopped going into the stadium. Security
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, you. There's no way.
Fans,
Like,
aren't,
look at you."
fans aren't allowed in here.
Exactly. But then he kicked the game winner, and then security stopped him after he had kicked the game winner also and said, "Like, no, you can't be down here."
Wow.
That's crazy.
Were you ever stopped?
Nah, I think I fit in. So
What, a 6'2", 200 and I guess 30-pound linebacker?
I think I.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally like me going into the stadium. So I don't blame him for thinking that.
Definitely.
That's
but,
funny.
I blame you. Yeah, it's all you. It's all
It's
you.
funny because when we would be out places and people be like, "Do I know you from somewhere? Do you do something?" We all be like, "Oh yeah, we're swimmers." Like we would say something.
That's so good. But the thing that Sean said was that, like, he made it clear he's competing with 31 other teams. There are probably 7 teams that have a real kicking battle. They know which kickers could be on the market. Like, they've got all that figured out.
Yep.
And I'm sure they've said, like, hey, if one of these 3 or 4 guys is the one that gets cut, we'd be lucky to have him.
Yeah, and I honestly think after going 0 for 2, although one of them was blocked, not his fault, but he did miss the other one. I think if the right guy's available, then it doesn't really matter what Brett does in the next 2 games.
Well, I mean, if he gets 6 opportunities and nails them all.
Yeah. Gets a long
gets
one in
like
there.
2 or 3 over 50, 52. I think he could still solidify his spot. It's going to be tough. I think he's got an uphill battle against them, but I wouldn't say the door is completely closed if he goes out there and plays well.
And that's fair. I think what he did last year in the regular season, I personally feel comfortable with him being the Broncos kicker. I know Broncos Country's freaked out, but over an entire season in the regular season, he had over 90% of his field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't ask for better. Was that the best in the league, Henry? I mean, it was like in the top 5, I think.
It's got to be. I'm not sure exactly, but it's got to be.
And then, of course, he comes out in the playoffs and goes 1 for 6 on extra points, which is just awful. And it's a national embarrassment for the Cowboys, and everyone's talking about him. And then he comes out and goes 0 for 2 in this past game. So he definitely has it, and his leg is so strong. I mean, I think he could hit from 68 with the right conditions as well. But that's what's going on with the kicking competition right now, and Broncos are going to keep it fluid, I think.
So the math is really hard to figure out, like what how rare it is for an average kicker to go 1 for 6 on extra points, but to miss 5 extra points in a row, which is worse than what Brett Maher did, there would be a 0.00004% chance that an average kicker would miss 5 in a row. So it's like not that low to go 1 for 6, but like that's how bad it was. Like that is just horrible.
Honestly,
not that anybody needs to be told how bad missing 5 of 6 extra points in a playoff is. Like that's insane.
It's honestly impressive.
In some ways, yeah, it's really impressive. Because I think I could go out there with 6 tries and make 1. And that's probably me being wrong. But I was telling Zach today, I tried kicking some field goals in high school. I was like 50% from 30 yards.
There you go.
And no rush or anything. But I also think I'm probably a little bit stronger now.
But your toe's broken.
Damn it, that's a good point. That's a good point. So that means I get 1 try because I'm just like crying on the sideline for the rest of it.
So now you got to go 1 for 1.
Never mind. Brett Maher's better than me.
It's very convenient that he's saying this when he doesn't have to prove it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how this job works.
So
I believe you. When your toe is healed, we'll do it.
Okay,
we'll do a segment.
My toe's
we'll take
healed.
it out there.
Yep. We got to get like a rush though. Some guys coming around the edges. You seem built for that, Zach.
Yeah. I'm ready to block your kicks.
Or we can just
what if I
bring up some of the Super Bowl 50 guys and see if they can beat.
yeah.
Alex Singleton would be more than happy to rush.
Yeah, they don't have any. They don't have any like chill. I feel like they would just tackle him.
That's why my meeting.
Exactly. Maybe even worse.
That's what you were hoping for.
The thing is, by that point, there's probably also like an unemployed long snapper in Denver too. Get him to do the snaps for us.
Well, there's going to be one.
Yeah.
Because I doubt the Broncos carry 2 long snappers on the team.
Exactly. We'll have to hit them up. One of them gets to take the job. The other gets to snap a ball for us.
So Henry,
Who do
you
you really
said
wanna
that
be?
you could be you could make a kick. I said that I could have been the quarterback and made a couple of the throws Russell Wilson made today because they were so wide open.
Meanwhile, Todd hasn't said anything like that.
Any bold things you want to say today?
Oh no!
Like you could make a tackle on an NFL field or
I
something?
probably could have had a good day as an outside linebacker. Probably could have got to the quarterback a couple times.
Yeah. Well, you've got the skills. You did it in high school and college.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? If you need me, Sean, call me.
I would love if Todd's like extraordinary thing is just something super mundane because he's such a super athlete. Like, like I can drive to the supermarket all by myself. Like nobody's gonna stop me.
I mean, Henry can't even drive to Chick-fil-A. He's just got to walk to McDonald's.
It's true. It's
we
incredibly convenient.
gotta stop that.
My
man.
factor boxes came today.
Okay, so we're good.
I gotta
We're
go pick
good.
it up. 14 meals a week.
There you go.
That's literally everything I'm eating for the next 5 weeks.
So no
Well,
McDonald's.
No McDonald's at all.
All right, let's do it.
I know. I'm so close to getting back into shape. By the end of Factor, I think I'm gonna be in decent shape.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
We
I like
support
that.
you.
Okay. Speaking of back into shape, Javonte Williams will officially play this Saturday in the preseason game. Thank goodness, because one, makes our jobs a lot easier. We get to watch Javonte Williams, something exciting in this game. And 2, I mean, not even 11 months after this brutal injury, he's going to be back on the field. Is this something you want to see, or do you want to see the Broncos just keep him safe until week 1?
No, I think I want to see it. I want to see him get the jitters out early. I want to see him get his trust back in his leg early. And I want to see how he does. I want to see how he performs. I want to see if he can still break tackles and continue to get upfield and make spectacular plays, turn nothing into something. So I think it's important for him to be out there. So definitely something I want to see and we'll be watching this week.
Do you think it's important for Sean Payton and George Payton to see that he's that guy.
Yep.
Because running backs are starting to fly off the free agent market right now. Do you think they need to see this in order to say, okay, we're definitely not going to sign a free agent running back? Or do you think they already know, like, we're not signing one?
No, I think they are still looking because, I mean, you can. I don't think the front office ever stops looking. You can have a guy that's a 4-time Pro Bowler in the prime of his career. They're still going to be looking at guys to bring in just in case something happens. So I don't think they ever stop looking. And I think that they do want to see him perform well. They want to see him. They know he's been at practice. They know he's been in some, live practice periods. But they want to see him in the game just so they can shut everything down and know that their room is solid.
And even before, like, the Dalvin Cook rumors a couple months ago, I mean, it was Kareem Hunt who was the first running back tied to the Broncos, and he's still on the market. And with 2 guys gone, you would think that Kareem's going to be gone soon because I'm pretty sure he was just taking some visits recently, too. Like, maybe the Vikings.
Yeah, he was.
And the Colts maybe, too?
Yeah, I think that's right. Which, are they actually looking for a running back? Are they trying to scare Jonathan Taylor? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it does seem like...
Jonathan Taylor's in camp.
Exactly. So it does look like Kareem is probably the next running back off the market, assuming nothing crazy happens with Josh Jacobs, which means Saturday, you want to see what you got so that you can make a phone call Sunday if you have to. And I would be surprised if Kareem's even gone by then.
And I just want to see a couple of carries from Javonte because I think in that you'll be able to see enough. But Todd, I do think you're right, and it's a great point, Henry, bringing up Kareem Hunt. He is the guy that the Broncos did show interest in. Who else is on the free agent market?
I can check.
You can check, pull it up, because I don't think it's any names that are going to blow people away.
I think Leonard Fournette's just taking visits right now.
Isn't Leonard Fournette kind of the Samaje Perine type of back, where he's obviously older?
Kareem Hunt kind of is now too.
But in terms of the bruising
power between the tackles,
I guess I do have that with Javonte.
Were you there in Kareem Hunt's Rookie of the Year season? Not there, but playing him, because that was incredible. And he never really put up those same numbers again.
It was all right.
Good point. It was all right. Damn it, that was Chiefs
He was
too.
with the Chiefs.
Damn, man, come on.
Every day
It was incredible.
golly.
Oh my god!
Again, like, it's just my fear coming back. Where it's like, oh no, Kareem Hunt. I have nightmares about that guy. Okay, well, never mind. I do not like Kareem Hunt.
You hear?
Okay, we can move along. I'm still pulling these up.
So I mean, Kareem Hunt would probably be that guy. I don't think it's going to happen. Someone's mentioning Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott signed with the Patriots yesterday.
Sneaky,
and then,
kind of a cool spot for him, I think.
You think so? Even
I do.
with Stevenson?
I think it shows what they want.
And they paid him like $6 million, right?
Up to $6 million.
Yeah, that's some real money.
It is.
And then the Jets signed Dalvin Cook to up to $8.5 million. The Jets, I mean, they're either going to be really good or it's going to be like the Philadelphia Eagles dream team, because when you look at them, they don't just have the talent, they have the personalities as well. I'm so scared for week 5. I think that game is going to be so difficult.
I was thinking about it. I think the Broncos beat the Jets twice this season.
Oh.
I think
Both
they
in
see
Denver?
No. But I was trying to, it's a positive take, so
Why?
we're
Who
ignoring
wins
that
the
part.
division, Henry?
See, we're not doing this again.
Smart.
I really like it. You know, Sean Payton is going in there like Monday of Jets week, and he's just going to say, all right, guys, I screwed up. Like, I said some things that I shouldn't have said. I need you guys to go out there and have my back. Like, I'm sorry I'm putting you in this situation. It's going to get them going. Like, there's going to be that little emotional side. And you got Garrett Wilson out there liking tweets about how he was doing an interview with the Gilligan hat and sunglasses on the sideline. There's going to be some real drama. And I think the Broncos finally are on the side of, like, we're the big tough guys. You guys go make your YouTube videos and stuff. We're just going to go kick some ass.
I think you're
I'm
right.
excited.
I think you're right about it being a rallying point for the Broncos. I think it's going to be maybe even more of a rallying point for the Jets. I don't know if Sean Payton's going to apologize to the players about it, though.
I think he'll go in and be like, yeah, I said it. Now what are we going to do about it? Come on.
That might be it. That might be it. In terms of the running backs, so NFL trade rumors .co, not .com. That was weird. They keep a good list of all the available free agents left. Right now, they've got at number 4, Kareem Hunt. Number 5, Leonard Fournette. The next running back up is Darrell Henderson from the Rams at number 33. Dontrell Hilliard at 42, Daryl Williams, another Daryl at 43. So it really does drop off. Amir Abdullah is up next for number 50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's really two guys there.
Yeah, to me it's Kareem Hunt or kind of an end list.
That's fair.
So you do have to figure it out.
Yep.
And if Javonte's done enough to show that he can play this week.
Yep.
It's not like they're speeding him up just to play this week to see if he still has it. No, he's been ready to play in a game for a couple of weeks now, just from what we've seen on the field.
Yeah, because I think he could have played last week if they really wanted him to.
Yeah.
I think he was ready to go. But this is just perfect timing. This game, you get one more preseason game. I don't know how much the starters are playing that, but, this will really be his outing. Because if he shows enough here, I don't think he has to play in the third preseason game. I think he just plays down and they rest him and get him ready for week 1.
Yep, I think you're spot on. I think that's what they're going to do. Sean hasn't fully talked about it, but I think that's what they're going to do with all the starters, but definitely with Javonte. And you said it's perfect time to go to a break and tell you about our friends over at FOCO, where if you want any cool gear, we're talking anything on the set, in front, behind us, FOCO's got it. If you use the code DNVR, you get 10% off at FOCO. FOCO's such a good place for gifts. If someone is remotely involved in sports or likes sports, you go over to FOCO, you're going to find something awesome for them, especially Nuggets championship gear, Broncos gear, Avs, and on our little graphic on our screen, we don't even have the Rockies. Guess it's a sad time for them. But if you want Rocky stuff, they've got it too. So check out FOCO. Use that code DNVR for 10% off. Okay, any other final things that you want to talk about from practice today?
Off the top of my head, not really. We've hit the point where it's like Jonathan Harris was good. Yeah, he's been doing that for 2 weeks. Like Jonathan Cooper made a play or two. He's been doing that for a couple weeks. We talked about the pass breakup from Jaquan McMillan, which was good to see after a couple of mistakes. He also got beat by Marvin Mims earlier in practice. But no, I don't have a lot that I saw and was like, oh, wow. Except for Michael Burton and those blocks and him working with Nate Atkins. There was one play, remember, where I thought they were going to run to the left, and it was like Troutman, it was Burton, and it was Jalen Virgil. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. They run to the right, massive cutback lane, like the whole left side just gets pushed back, but the running back missed it. So I don't know. There was that play, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I love that gets you fired up. Back of the roster, Hank, right there.
It's just the trenches. It's just beautiful. That's real football.
I also love that, like, do you have anything else to talk about? And then he goes, no, not really. And then
kind of stream of consciousness.
Todd, anything that caught your eye that we need to just wrap up practice with?
Yeah, you know what? If you guys haven't been out to practice and haven't seen how Sean Payton is with the team, like every time I'm out there and I see it, I love it. Like after every single play, he's grabbing a guy who may not have done his job right. And he kind of is teaching him or grabbing 2 or 3 guys and like, hey, when you get this look, when the safety is playing like this, if you're a wide receiver, you need to go up and attack your block, in this way and take these steps. Like, and he's showing him with his own body, like he's taking the time to make sure that guys get it right. And sometimes it takes time for that to trickle down throughout the entire organization to where, you've told an older guy this multiple times. So now he's going to go grab the young guy and say, hey, you need to move your body like this. You need to be ready for this. So I love to see it, and I know that it's going to pay big dividends over the year for the Broncos.
He's actually coaching.
Yeah.
Which is incredible to see.
Which is rare.
I know, isn't that weird? Like, it's like, I remember the first practice being like, oh, yeah, Nathaniel Hackett didn't really do this. Not. I don't mean to like throw him under the bus, but that's my comparison. It's pretty crazy. I was talking to Jalen Virgil after practice today, and I asked him, like, so how much is Sean in the receivers room for meetings? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, okay. And he was like, I just don't know if that's something I'm allowed to say. And I was like, sounds good. So I don't know if he's doing anything in the meeting rooms, but definitely on the field.
Was that a got you question?
I know. That's what I thought. I was like, it's not like crazy stuff. But he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I mean, like, he has so much on his plate. Like, he's deciding where we stand at practice. Like, I wonder how much he's actually in the rooms. And he's like, I don't know. I was like, okay, sounds good, Jalen.
Yeah, I don't think
Back to your great
I don't think
Jets
Henry was trying to get you in trouble.
Just kind of being curious.
Well, and to add on to just where Sean is during practice, and something that I haven't seen before, which is wild, during all the situational periods, Sean is pretty much the only coach in the middle of the field. And right before they start, he's explaining the situation to them and explaining why they're doing it and explaining what needs to be done from the offense and the defensive side. And I don't remember that from Nathaniel Hackett, from Vic Fangio in the past, where they were right there multiple times a day in practice explaining this stuff. And it's situational football. That's really important. And every day Sean gets on the podium and says, today we practice situational football. It was red zone and third down today, or whatever it was. But he's actually on the field explaining it. It's like, wow, no wonder your teams are pretty good at situational football. It's because not only do you practice it, but you tell them exactly what you're looking for right before you do it.
You have an understanding, and I think that kind of stuff, happens in the game. So, Russ is taking all that in. He's getting all that information that Sean's giving them on different drives. And then when it's time for the game, Sean Payton's not going to be out there anymore, but Russ is going to stand in front of the huddle and say, remember in practice where we did this and this? Okay, we need this because, we got, a minute 56 left. We need to score 3 points to tie. This is the way we're attacking it. Be ready for when I call this play. It'll probably come throughout this drive. Like, that carries over to end the games. It's just going to be another person doing it.
Right, yeah. And that's why the quarterback is so important. And having a veteran guy that's done it before is so important to have on the field. All right, comment section time?
Yeah, let's do
talk
it.
to the people. When we talk to the people, if you guys could hit us with a thumbs up over on YouTube, really helps us out. Let's get to 200 by the end of the show. I know you can do it.
Let's
really
do
helps
it.
us out. Thank you. All right, first one coming in from The Count. He says, I feel as though it's been many a moon since we had a really good big man touchdown. Am I forgetting anyone? Which behemoth on the current roster would you like to see find pay dirt, and why? Love, The Count.
Mike Purcell has lined up at fullback, but I think going to a defensive player is probably bold. It's probably like Cam Fleming comes on as an extra lineman. McGlinchey probably moves the best of the tackles. Maybe you bump him outside. I'll go McGlinchey.
McGlinchey?
Yeah, we'll play action, drop it over the top, jump pass type thing.
I like that.
What if Bulls did it? I would just love to see the stadium go crazy because they've booed him at times. They've had a lot to say. If he was to catch a touchdown, I don't even know what people would do. Like, what would their reaction be? Like, I would love to see the stadium just be stunned for a second and then like just burst into like this awesome cheer.
That would be so
What would his
good.
celebration be? Like, he's going to be hyped after that. Exactly. Yes. I hope
He just
that's
wouldn't know
it
what
is.
to do and just can't
He'd be
contain
so
himself.
There's going to be a
excited.
big spike in there.
Yeah.
I hope it's Bulls.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
I'm going Quinn Miners, and
Okay.
so he can break out the belly.
Oh,
That's
he
his
loves
touchdown
that.
celebration.
He loves that.
Is breaking out the belly, and then we asked him about it after the game, and he's like, I'm not trying to focus on my belly.
Why are you
here."
talking about the belly? Because you pulled your shirt up and we're banging it like you're. It's crazy.
Exactly.
He'll probably be one of the guys that gets skinny after he's done playing.
Oh,
Like, you know how there's always a couple. He'll probably be like 185 pounds once he's done playing.
It is crazy to see his belly. Like, I know he doesn't want us talking about it, but like sometimes when we're down on the field, I was looking, I was like,
You're just checking it out.
wow. I mean, checking it out isn't the phrase I'd use, but I mean, technically. But yeah, you
He's
look
a
at
big boy. He is a big boy.
Wow. Yeah.
Did we ever find out how much he weighs now?
So I didn't hear because he was talking when I was doing a separate interview.
He didn't tell us then.
I heard a rumor he was 340 pounds. There's no way
that's what I heard too.
there's no way.
Maybe we heard it from each other, but I swear I heard that too.
Yeah, I heard the same. There's no way that's true. But the belly has grown.
If so, he moves
I think he admitted.
unbelievably well.
Oh, he does because his legs are still so. I'm not skinny. That's definitely not true. But that's where all the strength is just in his belly, which is so cool.
You really have examined his belly.
Yeah, no, well, it's just like when you're 20 yards away and you're just like, what is happening there?
He might want to get something on you that makes you have to be 50 yards away at closest.
Yeah, maybe. Might be a good call on his part.
Close here.
That would be so crazy if we had like a restraining order at practice tomorrow.
So, yeah, they'd have to actually give me the script. Be like, yeah, he's gonna be on this end of the field during this session. You're just gonna have to go over here.
Or they would just say, "Give me your credential."
Oh,
That's
dang.
probably more likely. That's probably.
I don't
more
think
likely.
Sean's giving you a script.
Wow, I'm not great this episode. Damn, that's a shame.
Wow. Don't worry, I've been getting smashed in the comment section.
oh,
So if you
wow.
could hit us with thumbs up, make Henry and I feel
thumbs
better.
up.
Todd's only had good comments. And speaking of Todd, good comments. The Count comes
make a
in
good point.
and says, Todd, I seem to remember you getting fined about $18,000 for a horse collar tackle against Tampa Bay in 2016. Was that just a freak thing where your hand ended up grabbing Charles Sims up high? I believe it was your only career fine. Is that right?
Oh, that might be. I might have had one other one, but yeah, I mean, as a linebacker, I'm just grabbing for anything. Like, I'm not trying to let you get past me.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the fine, take the penalty, and those fines, you get to like argue them, or you get to what's the word for it?
Is it arbitration?
Appeal?
Appeal. Yeah, so you get to appeal
yeah.
them. So I think it only ended up being like $1,500 instead of $18,000,
That's
which was
crazy.
great.
Yeah.
They do a good job of like letting you have like your first one. So if that was like my third one,
yeah.
it probably would have been the full 18,000.
Yeah.
But first and second, they give you a good amount back.
Man, I totally get fining for unnecessary roughness penalties and ones where it's
Yep.
like, you punch the guy or something like that. Even if it's on the field, I totally understand those. But I mean, clearly you weren't trying to make a dirty play.
Exactly.
And like you said, you're just trying to get the guy down. A flag for that? Sure.
That's fine.
Because you're not allowed to. But man, that feels wrong to fine someone for like a harmless, like when it's truly an
Or accidental
yeah,
play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
a
think
huge
in
amount
that
of
play,
money.
I think my
Yeah.
hand I had him like maybe on the shoulder, and as he turned, I turned and it slipped to his
Right.
collar. So it's not even like I just grabbed him by the collar and pulled him
Yeah.
down. So it really should have fined him. Can't turn,
Horse calling
can't
himself.
turn your body like that.
Wow, that is so much money. Because you
Yeah.
just find out because there's just like the envelope in your locker one day, right?
Yep.
Damn, that is
You
not
sure
the
you
envelope
walk in,
you
it's
want.
this pretty white envelope. It's so crisp,
yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, is it a check? Did we get paid today?" Like, nope. It's a fine.
I was interviewing Melvin last year, like, and he just like turned around mid interview and realized he had one in his locker and was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this!" And then, like that was the end of the interview because he was like,
Right.
had to figure that out. That was
What was he
I can't
fined
imagine
for?
that feeling. I can't remember. I wonder if it was like a jersey thing or like a shoes thing.
Yeah.
I bet I can find it.
Yeah. When you're looking that up, Arvada Luke says, for the love of the great Rocky Mountains, please, please, please don't cut anyone who shows talent on the offensive line. On the scale of pure, ruthless meritocracy to emphasize on extenuating factors, where do we think Coach Payton lands as far as making roster decisions goes?
I'm gonna let you break that one down first.
I mean, he's number one. He is
Yep.
the one that's making the calls on this roster.
I think so.
And George is in the room talking to him, and I'm sure the coordinators are also there, but this is Sean Payton's roster.
Without a doubt. I think they've given him that power. I think Greg Penner has given him that power to really almost act as the GM in a lot of ways. So it'll be his team no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. And I think George has moved into that, number one scout type of role, where he's going to rely on George to get him scouting reports on free agents that are out there, scouting reports really into the draft. And then Sean's the one that compiles it all and says, okay, we're going with this guy.
How do you think he feels as the GM to, I guess, be put in the head scouting position, as you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, because traditionally it's the GM, then the head coach below him. When they hire George Payton, Greg Penner said they're going to be next to each other. And 8 months into this, it's already Sean Payton's above him. It can't feel good. And it can't feel good for his job security moving forward, too,
For sure.
because if the Broncos don't succeed this year, who knows what that means, succeed. If it's 8-9, if it's 5-12 again, it's not Sean Payton that's leaving. And they're going to make some changes.
I think so, too.
And the easiest change would probably be George Payton. So, yeah, it can't feel good.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough. And I think he had a lot of experience coming into the job. I know he was an assistant GM or co-GM with the Vikings when I was there, and I thought he was a really great guy. But he's in a tough position right now because it's really like win or your job's on the line, but at the same time, you don't have the same power to dictate those wins. So you're kind of just like on the sidelines trying to help out, but also you're the one that's most on the chopping block. Ooh, that's a tough position to be in.
Man, not a fun position.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a player who, if your team wins, you get to stay on the team,
Yep.
but you don't get to play.
Exactly.
Try to help the team
You're
win.
inactive, but
Yes.
if you lose, if we lose, you're gone. Like, that's tough. That's tough.
That's brutal. So yeah, he's in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
And my prediction right now is that he's not on the team after this year.
Dang.
Not fully because of him, but because I think Sean's also going to want his guy in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go the other way still.
Okay.
For what it's worth. I think because as a director of scouting, I mean, that's what made George Payton so successful. Like, that's why he got the job with the Broncos, because he did such a good job helping with the draft with the Vikings. And so he almost gets put into a much better role for him. Although it is true, Sean Payton didn't choose him, and he might want somebody else to do that job. I lean toward George's back.
Okay.
For what
I
it's
like
worth.
George as a person. I think he's a
do
great
too.
guy. I think he did a great job with the Vikings. I think it was
Yeah.
just a tough year. A lot of first timers within the organization.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it's still up in the air, and I think it really depends on how the Broncos do. So I'm not going to give a verdict just yet.
Yeah.
Maybe mid-season, depending on how the team is. I think that's when you can really, really tell.
And I also think Sean's just going to look at the moves that George has made, which a lot of them, most of them are still TBD. And I think after this year, we'll have a good feeling. Does Randy Gregory go out and have a season where you're saying, damn, $13 million for Randy Gregory a season? The Broncos actually got him for a bargain?
Yeah.
Or do you see him go out and play only 4 games? I'm touching wood, but only play 4 games like he did last year for the most part. And you're like, you paid this guy $26 million to play in 8 games when you knew he was going to be injured, because that's what his history was. And so I think there's a lot of big free agents that can really help or write the book for George Payton this year.
For sure. I see that.
All right. Were you looking for something?
I couldn't find the Melvin Gordon fine,
Okay.
but I did find stories like the Chargers are fine without Melvin Gordon.
Which,
in case you want to take a look at that.
Well, they fined him because he missed training camp.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure when he came back, because that new rule in the CBA wasn't there, they just waived the fines.
He
but,
also had the DUI,
Yep.
but that would have been too late because I'm pretty sure they resolved that at the beginning of the season. Well, I guess maybe that's when I talked to him. I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Next one from Bronc Oilers says, before I wasn't super familiar with Sean Payton as far as his personality, but I do find it fascinating how chatty he gets given all the anonymous donor talk and the anti-media sentiment that was going on early. He's had pressers and interviews that go extra long, made some very candid and attention-grabbing comments to the media throughout the offseason. Too many lattes, anyone? I'm curious how you guys have experienced him thus far, because I was expecting more of a Fangio-Belichick demeanor, and he's clearly not that.
No, he's not that.
no.
He's not that, but he is his unique kind of person. I think once the season starts and things like maybe they hit a tough stretch, whether it's injuries or a couple losses or whatever it is, that'll be the real test. But right now, there isn't all that much that can put him in a bad mood, which I think helps, because good mood Sean is awesome. And I have friends who've covered him in, New Orleans, I guess, not other places, that one place. And they've said, like, yeah, when he's in a good mood, he's like an awesome guy. Not in a good mood, not as much fun.
Yeah, I would say just Vic in particular, I know being with him, he was quiet with the media and he was quiet in the locker room.
Like
he was just
low
kind
energy.
of just a quieter type of guy, very cerebral. Like he would think about a lot of things, but he didn't have the need to have a conversation about everything. But Sean is like, he's a good person. He's a person that you can sit down and have a conversation with, and it doesn't even have to be about football. So he has like a good energy and a good vibe to him. I think that's what comes across. Although he's still like anti-media, he doesn't want to tell you everything he's doing. I don't think he's closed off like some other coaches are either.
Yeah, and when it comes to dealing with the media, outside of training camp, because he's talked to us all but 2 days, and he could have talked to us a lot less.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk to the media that much, but when he does talk, he's fine talking forever.
Yeah.
And he is okay with doing 20-minute long press conferences when a normal coach will go 7 or 8 minutes. So it's a very interesting dynamic, because you would think, oh, he doesn't want to talk to the media a lot, so when he does talk, he's only going to talk for 4 minutes. Or he loves talking to the media, so he's going to talk to him every day for 20 minutes. It's a really interesting balance. But yeah, he is a personable guy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Last comment, I believe, coming in from Danimal says, all right, guys, now that we've had a moment to panic, take a breath, panic one more time, and drink a Breck Brewer 12 to calm our nerves about the first game. I did my homework. Watching the coaches tape again and seeing some QB coach recaps, it seems Russ is executing well given that Payton didn't scheme any help for the offensive line and left his bag of tricks in Denver. Bottom line is I'm freaking excited, and it looks like I'll be joining you for the tailgate at the season opener against the McDaniels Felons. See y'all next month, Danimal. Oh, man. And speaking of our tailgate, it's open. You can buy tickets for our tailgate for week 1 against the Raiders. We've got a different package and way of doing the tailgate this year, a lot more affordable. So check it out over at the DNVR Locker. That's where you can get your tailgate tickets. And we are 26 days away from the start of the season.
Wow.
Yep.
It's coming.
3 weeks from
Winter
tomorrow.
is coming.
It's very true. It's very true. But not for the Broncos, because we still got like a week of 90 degrees, a week of training camp, joint practices next week, and another practice for the Broncos tomorrow. Any parting shots?
No, let's do it, man. Broncos are going to have a great game this week. I'm going to go ahead and take it and say it. And Broncos are going to have a great game, and they'll put a lot of people's mind at ease. Should be a lot more scheme that we get to see. So tune in, man. Tune in to us on the post and pregame show, most definitely, because we'll have a lot to say about it. But I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Come hang out at the bar.
Yep.
It's not like an official, we're all hanging out at the bar, but obviously we are. We're watching the game and doing pregame, postgame show.
Yep.
So
You know, the bar's the place to watch it. And come hang out with us tomorrow on YouTube on the podcast side. We'll be going live at 2:30 after the Broncos practice. See you then. Hit us with a like on your thumbs up. Like on your way.